Jason's gonna have a good mic is when I go out to Arizona and I bring my own mic out there. Which reminds me, Josh, are you gonna end up coming out with us?
When is you said what is March?
It's in February. It's from February, I want to say 17th to the 19th. 18th to 19th or Saturday, Sunday.
I have no idea, but I'll try to let y'all know as soon as I can.
For sure. Because,
Hopefully, hopefully by like the beginning of next week.
oh, yeah. We're going to try to film a pod while we're out there. So we're probably going to move that week's podcast to the weekend. That
Mm.
works.
Yeah, I know my friend invited me to go to Arkansas to go duck
Arkansas.
hunting. Yeah, in like sometime in February, but I think it's before then.
Um, Kind of a personal question, but what is there to do in Arkansas?
Oh, we're going to duck hunt,
Ah, now
shoot
that
birds.
right there makes sense.
That's all there is to do there.
Yeah.
Josh, you are such a redneck.
That's debatable. That's debatable compared to some of the people that I'm around.
You know, that's also a valuable point. But if you're comparing yourself to other people in that regards who probably are from Arkansas, that's kind of an understandable point.
That's true.
Hey, how far are you gonna be from Bull? I think it's Bull Shoals.
What?
What did you just call him?
Bull Shoals, Arkansas. The lake. Never heard of it?
Nope.
It's like right. It's like on the border of Arkansas, Missouri.
Hmm. I know
My
that he's
grandma lives there.
where my friend lives, or he's like
Yeah.
he's a guide. He's a guide for duck hunting, and he has like a place.
Okay.
That's like it's only what is it? What town is the Chief Stadium in again?
Kansas City?
Arrowhead. Oh wait, no, not Arrowhead. That's the stadium.
Kansas. It's Kansas City, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it should be in Kansas City.
That was stupid of me. But yeah, he's like 30, 45 minutes from Kansas City.
Okay.
I said Arrowhead. Okay. I was gonna say when I was like, I want to say I was like 8 years old. My dad brought us and he got us like a fishing instructor, and we went out on a boat. And dude, I caught like 14 fish that day, like with the instructor. I mean, I wasn't doing it. I was just holding the pole. They were doing all the work. But
Right.
the guy's name was Hot Dog.
Hot dog.
Hot Dog.
His nickname, I assume, was Hot Dog. I don't think anybody names their child Hot Dog.
Why were you? Why were you in Arkansas?
My grandma, she has a house out there.
Uh,
Lives out there
Yeah.
On the lake. You know.
yeah,
The one where they
there's a
have
lot of
water
pretty
moccasins.
land out there, but there's not much to do.
Yeah, but you got to watch out for the water moccasins. I mean, we saw like 3 in a week when we were there.
There's a snake in my boot.
All right. How we
Hey,
doing?
let's start this thing, by God.
I already started 3 minutes ago. Everybody got to hear all
Oh,
about.
bro.
Everybody knows that Arrowhead is now the new location for Kansas City, and and stuff along those
Gotcha.
lines. But we're starting off today with only 3 of us, unfortunately, because another notable thing that occurred is one more dropped. So Sam dropped out the previous week, and then Alex is no longer with us anymore. He's not dead. I want to clarify that. He is alive. He just happened to have other priorities that he has to focus on in life, and we respect that. So, and then Cade can't make it. He had a team meeting. He's a busy kid, so I wouldn't be surprised if we end up only having just us 3 for a majority of the following off season. But starting off today, I think we're going to start off with the rebuild that we were attempting to do last week for the Chicago Bears. We have a couple of things to show. Most likely going to be like I did a couple PFF mock drafts, some ideas for what the Bears need.
Yep.
And stuff along those lines. So just keep your eye out for that, and then we'll end up starting off with. I'll share the screen to show off the mock draft results, and then I'll kind of talk a little bit more on why it shows these specific players at what, and then we're going to do a mock draft between the 3 of us and see where we kind of go in comparison. So let me throw that up right now. as you can see, this beautiful background. Do you guys can you
Question.
see? Answer? What's up?
What happened to the one with Anderson?
It's right next to it.
Is that the one you want to do right now?
Yeah. I'll start off with the one with Will Anderson.
Okay.
Okay. So starting off, the Bears obviously have the first pick. And so I'm pretty sure amongst all of us we have a fairly general consensus that if the Bears do end up retaining the first pick, they're most likely going to go with Will Anderson. He's been compared to be a generational talent, and from what film Jason's watched and from what I've watched as well, he's quite literally that guy. And so it
He's
seems
Khalil
like
Mack.
what'd you say?
I said he's Khalil Mack, but he can also rush inside.
Yeah, he's quite a dual threat, and I mean his impact hopefully will be generational, but realistically that is the praise for every year. And so for him to be at least a caliber of what we would say like a 90 overall in Madden, simply put, somebody who can be an edge threat and kind of just end up pulling double teams, opening up other rush lanes for the rest of the team, definitely viable. But moving on to the second round, since the Bears ended up trading their pick for Chase Claypool, the pick that they traded Roquan for, which is the Ravens' second round pick, I ended up taking John Michael Schmitz. Nothing in particular was the reason beyond the fact that the Bears happened to be lacking on their offensive line. And I wanted to stay away from initially drafting a tackle because Tevin Jenkins was drafted fairly previously. I want to say he was drafted last year.
Yeah, he has a lot of upside too.
Yeah.
He was drafted in the same class as Justin.
Yeah. So it was 2 years ago.
So 21.
Yeah. He is high upside and he's a monster. Like
He does.
when he's healthy, which is a big if right now, he's quite a force to be reckoned with. And so I was thinking to kind of aid with the rebuild of the the offensive line. We should probably start with the center, if not start with the guards on the inside. And so John Michael Schmitz was the best opportunity or option. And the other one, you'll see another option that we had, which we'll talk about in a moment.
So question real quick for you, Austin. I know you guys picked up Alex Leatherwood. How do you feel about that? I mean, he hasn't performed well, but I do believe he was a first-round pick a couple of years ago. But it was also the Raiders who picked him, so probably a reach.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like I haven't had. So I think a lot of offensive linemen kind of take that next step with a really good offensive line coach. For example, most of the Eagles line. We can say Dallas's offensive line, your guys' offensive line.
Yeah, Green Bay is always.
I feel like coaching is really what takes that next step. And from what I've seen, Chicago, I mean, they're really good at blocking the run. Maybe it's the dynamics of what they scheme, but for the pass block, they've been very weak. And so I don't believe. Huh?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I mean, if I haven't done enough watching film on who we just picked up, and so I want to say that I wouldn't have it. Is he a center? Is he a guard? Is he a tackle?
No, so Alex Leatherwood, I want to say he was a first-round pick in 2020 or 2021, and he was picked by the Raiders, so once again a reach, shocker. And he's been pretty terrible. So I'm looking at the depth chart right now, he's a second-string left tackle behind Braxton Jones, but the reason I guess I'm even talking about him is because he was a first-round pick.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one because obviously we can reference back to Baker, we can reference to Sam Darnold, and obviously that's a completely separate position. But in regards to first-round talent, it usually ends up being something that people have high value for. And so I would not be surprised if any way, shape, or form he makes his way to the lineup. But before I continue, if you guys want to throw any input out there for the time being.
Yeah, so one more thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Cody Whitehair, didn't he at one point play center?
Yes, he did.
Okay, so I've heard speculation when I was doing research this week that they might slide him back inside the center.
Yeah, I would
But
not.
then again, if you do take a guy like John Michael, a lot of times centers can play guard too. It's not that different of a position.
Are you referencing?
So I guess no. So what I'm saying is like your pick in the second round.
Mhm.
I guess like he doesn't have to necessarily play center. I think you're just looking for interior alignment.
Yes. So like obviously a center has a I wouldn't say like a completely separate skill set, obviously, other than snapping the ball and running like
Yeah.
as the captain. But I think that as you said, like I preferably look for a guard because I think that we can move our line around and find an optimal center nonetheless. But I think the interior needs the most help. And as you said, with the new addition, they're going to obviously do their best to get him reps, even though Braxton Jones most likely will start. And then obviously Tevin Jenkins will start opposite of him. And so I think interior is where the definite need is at this current moment in time.
Okay, and then moving on to round 3. What caught your eye about Rasheed?
So this was kind of another thing because like if you've watched Chicago over the last year or so, you can tell that the wide receiver position is in definite need for playmakers. And obviously we talked about this briefly, but Chase Claypool was acquired this previous season for a second round pick, and I like as great of a receiver as he could possibly end up being, like we still are lacking a third solid option. Like Velus Jones is like he's solid. St. Brown's not too bad either, but I think we need somebody who can kind of take the next step with Mooney and Claypool. Obviously, we're not finding anybody who's like Quentin Johnston. We're not finding Addison. So like it's not anybody you're going to be looking to be a number 1 option, but somebody who can be a solid number 2 and number 3 is definitely a great acquisition at this point. And I think Rashee Rice definitely fits that role.
And just to add a little bit on Rasheed Rice, just some research that I did on him. He can play perimeter. He can play on the inside, maybe at the next level. He's 6'2", 200 pounds. He runs a 4.36. So the guy's got speed. Last year he had 96 catches and over 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. So yeah, he did go to SMU. So it's not a great, I guess, like destination of or location of where you want a top-notch player to play, but because the competition at SMU is not as great. But I don't think that the competition level is everything, and I think you also have to look at the tools and you got to look at the production, and he has both. But I still want to watch a little bit more film on him because I did not get a chance to watch. I just watched a few highlights. And I do think there might be some better receiving options there in the 3rd round, but I don't think it's a bad pick at all. It's definitely not a slam dunk, but it's a guy that you can look at that may have some upside.
Moving on, that is definitely a fairly good analysis, and obviously like this is just options, ideas, and this isn't stuff that's like completely in depth. Like we're not spending hours upon hours watching film like we're the Chicago Bears, but this is just like from the outside looking in from a perspective of a fan and from a fairly well-educated football watcher.
Sorry, my team's front office doesn't watch any film. They just draft.
They just throw darts at a board.
Christian Watson wasn't a terrible draft pick. At the start, he was.
Quay
He
Walker.
developed well.
Quay Walker was.
Would George Pickens have been a better pick, though? That's what
I don't think so. I think
I don't know.
Let me explain why. Because I think Pickens is a better rounded receiver. Like if you want a true perimeter guy that can run all the routes and have good body control, I mean George Pickens is AJ Green. That's my comp for him. Maybe a little bit bigger, but I look at a guy like Christian Watson, that size, that speed, and his ability to be able to win contested catches, which he did not show when he was at North Dakota State. He showed in the NFL. That speed and that size, you just can't find. So the tools that Watson has, I mean, it's just he's like a created Madden player. He's just got to be better at football because that's where he, like the little things of being a receiver, like running sharper routes, looking the ball in. It doesn't feel like he can run the full route tree yet, but man, that dude is electric.
I think time will tell, but I think that I like Christian Watson, but I think that I think Pickens is going to have a really big like second year jump.
Okay, let me ask you this.
If the others can get things together.
Let me ask you this. So if we were doing the draft over again and we knew basically what we know now about all the receivers picked in the draft last year, where would you put Watson, like ranked amongst receivers? Austin, you can answer that too.
You want me to answer first, or do you want to take this first, Josh? I can start.
I would say top 3, maybe top 5. I mean,
Okay.
Jameson Williams, he's kind of it's too early. I mean, he only played like 2 games, something like that.
Also,
He looks explosive. He looks really good.
yeah, take into consideration also like upside, like future, not just what they did last year.
Right.
But I
Honestly,
think
I honestly, as far as upside goes, I feel like Pickens has got more upside. I really do. Maybe, I mean, I hope I'm wrong about that, but I really do.
he has the speed. He's fast. He just doesn't have.
He can catch anything. It seems like he can catch absolutely anything.
You can't go wrong with either. That's what I think. I think they're both going to be top 10 receivers.
You're probably right.
I think Christian falls in the top 5, but I wouldn't give him more than top 3. I think Olave, and I'm not talking about all time. I'm not talking about like in the league. I'm talking about as rookies. You can't overlook the fact that he's a man made of glass, even with his potential. But,
just the beginning, he started getting pretty. He was doing better down the stretch.
Yeah, but he still got injured towards the latter end of the year, so it's not something that you can say that.
Yeah, I think it's like a lot of like nicks and stuff. They were talking about how rookies get injured more because they go from playing like 10 to 12 games a year to having to play like 17.
Yeah. No, that makes sense, but we also have to compare it to like Olave and Wilson, who both kind of went out there and were able to play a majority of the year, same as George Pickens. I'm not giving Sky Moore anywhere near that, but like I'm trying to think of other notable receivers. Jameson Williams,
Yeah,
obviously.
Sky Moore was a first-round pick, wasn't he? Or was he second round?
Was he second?
He got picked, I think, after Pickens.
Yeah.
Like Pickens and Sky Moore went pretty close because
I remember that's who I wanted us to draft with Sky Moore, but I'm very glad we did.
I wanted George Pickens, and then Watson was my next. Once we got to the second round, I'm not gonna lie, the guy that I wanted more than anybody was Garrett Wilson, but I knew he was gonna go early. I didn't really like Drake London just because I thought he couldn't really separate. He didn't have a lot of speed, and I still feel that same way about London. I really like Treylon Burks, and that's actually Josh, who when we were sitting there, I think it was pick 22. I mean, I was screaming for us to get Treylon Burks, and he got picked like 2 picks ahead of us. Tennessee traded with Philly. That was like the AJ Brown trade. And
yeah, he gets overlooked. He's going to be a stud.
I think
for sure.
He's got a lot of potential. He literally, I mean, it's kind of a lazy comparison, but he literally looks like AJ Brown. Like
he was in the same boat as Jameson Williams, though. Like they didn't even play till like the second half of the season.
So Jameson, I think, was my number 1, maybe number 2 receiver if he didn't tear his ACL. I still thought I think Garrett Wilson is Stephon Diggs. That's who I think he's going to be, and that's who I wanted. I wanted Garrett Wilson, but we wanted Olave too. But I guess if I'm answering this question, I don't think Watson's like the best pure receiver, but I think he's such a weapon, and I think with his upside, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being the best in this class. But I'm going to say heading into next year, he's probably top 3. I still think Garrett Wilson's ahead of him, and I think right now probably Olave.
I say we kind of get back to this later on, but I actually have a question because I genuinely think that I think this receiving class is going to be quite interesting 5-10 years down the line.
Yeah.
But, moving
So-
along, so we can get back to the topic at hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back-to-back receivers. Obviously, this is again desperate need, but A.T. Perry's a 6'5". He's a jump ball receiver, and not necessarily, I mean, the biggest asset that you can use, but a big body out there is not necessarily always a bad thing. It's kind of nice to have a big target to kind of look towards, and if he can sharpen up the routes, and if he can just kind of separate himself, or at least kind of present himself in ways that he's able to like use his length to win battles, I don't see why that would be a terrible acquisition. But back-to-back receivers was definitely an aggressive thought on my part. But
He
then again,
runs a 4.48. Not bad for that's pretty good for being that big.
yeah, for a 6'5" guy, he's definitely not like, it's not like freak speed, it's not like Julio, it's not like DK, but like
It's another Chase Claypool.
But also, a lot of people, I think they don't realize that Julio's not this like 6'5" dude. He's like 6'2.5".
No, he's 6'2". He's lanky, and that's what makes him look.
He looks huge.
He does. He like looks taller than he truly is.
Yeah, but he's not much bigger than like Devontae. Devontae is like 6'1.5".
Yeah, well, stature wise, it just like he looks tall.
Yeah, he's built in the shoulders.
Moving along though, as we kind of discussed earlier, Roquan getting traded to the Ravens kind of left the Bears with a void to fill, and the Bears did a fairly good job this year of kind of substituting in linebackers, but nothing that you can compare to Roquan. And you're not going to get a caliber of Roquan unless you invest a first-round pick for. So this is a shot in the dark, but I took the best opportunity, or the best linebacker that was available in the 5th round. And again, like if I was in the front office for Chicago, I'd be watching film on just about all 270 guys that are going to be drafted, or most likely to be drafted. And then you're going to be watching people at your pro days, at the combines, and then you're going to be able to get more information. But this is like a well before kind of thing. Obviously, we can revisit this with our crucial teams once the season's about to start, or once the draft's about to start, when we've seen combines, when we've seen film on these guys in pro days. That's when we're going to see separation between these guys and picks. But I was just mainly filling for positions. So the Bears need edge rushing. We were discussing a little bit about possibly a backup quarterback that's young. Interior line, receiving, linebacking, and then obviously D-line. And so that's kind of where my thought process was. And then obviously defensive interior, Jacob Slade, that's their 2nd, 5th round option. That was kind of where I went with. And then for rounding out the picks, I picked up Kenny McIntosh, which obviously, if you guys watch the bowl game, he plays a solid factor. He's definitely not like somebody who jumps off the paper for you, but he's a solid running back. And with David possibly not being there in the near future, it's always good to have a second option.
Yeah, and I also don't think David is like this elite running back. He's a solid back, but I mean, I don't think anybody has David Montgomery in their top 10, top 15 running backs.
No, I completely agree. And if they do, he's definitely like 15th. He's
also
McIntosh really supposed to go that low?
Yeah.
He only had,
High rather. Or,
he only had 150 carries last year.
Yeah, he was in a trio committee. So
Which is, I mean, it's not great. 85th in the league, but he averaged 5.5 yards a carry. Still had 10 touchdowns rushing.
yeah,
I think there could be some really good value there with him.
That's skewed statistics, unfortunately, because like
Yeah, it also could be a product of the system.
exactly.
I haven't watched film on him, so I'm not going to act like I know about him. But I mean, at that point, I feel like you're just kind of drafting him because of the team he played for, which is fine.
Notably.
Kind of did that in the 7th round too with DeMarco.
Yeah,
Helen.
The Packers did last year.
we'll talk about that coming up on it. But the 6th round, another edge rusher just to round out the corner. And then, yeah, as Jay said, I chose a Bama product because it's Bama. Their safeties, their DBs are fairly notable. I mean, we've had a fair share. Eddie's still there, and he's a Bama product. And so maybe another ball hawk. But again, I haven't watched a boatload of film on mostly any of these guys other than Will Anderson. So moving along to my other mock draft, and then we can do our own little mock draft from the Bears' perspective.
Or do you want to go to free agency next?
I mean, I'm fine with that.
Okay, it's up to you.
Let's do free agency then.
Okay. So can you or do you want me to share my screen?
Yeah, I'll hand it to you.
Okay. 1 second, let's figure out. I just gotta pull up the website. So if you guys want to talk about something else for a second, go ahead.
Josh, how about them Cowboys?
I did not see that coming, honestly, but they look pretty good. They look really good offensively. Defensively, I mean, I don't know if it was a bunch of these the Buccaneers just choking, but they look pretty good on defense too. I don't think they'll have as easy as a time though going to San Francisco. They're pretty good on defense too.
I completely agree. Jay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna share my screen.
You're good.
Can you okay, is it sharing?
Not yet. Give me a sec. I have to give you ownership, but can you plug your headphones back in? Because like we were again picking up your audio from both sides of it, and so I was like, I'm not trying to destroy everybody's ears. Only ours is acceptable. Anyhow, you should be able to share.
I think the Bears are going to need to get really active in free agency if they want a shot at the playoffs this year.
Oh yeah,
or next year rather.
I don't see personally. I don't see them having a shot this year. That's like a pipe dream.
Yeah, you
I
guys
think
ready?
they do. If they make the right plays, I don't see why not.
Jeez, Jay, your audio fucking sucks.
So let me dial in again. So,
All right. Do me a favor, Jay.
hey, Austin, real quick. When you come to Arizona,
Yeah.
bring me a mic or a new computer.
Yeah, let me get on that.
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't help but laugh.
Yeah.
Hey Josh, you buy me a mic, I'll buy you a JT card.
Sounds good, dude.
You're goddamn.
Damn later on Zoom.
Enter your meeting ID followed by pound.
Okay, here we go. Media ID 94.
No, fuck it. Okay, I'm using Jay for him. All right. Let's talk a little bit more once he comes back in on his phone. So we'll talk about that Cowboys Bucks game. No, I agree. I don't know if it was necessarily the Bucks that were or I don't know if it was Dallas's defense that was as good as it may be, or if the Bucks were just lackluster on offense.
Yeah.
But what we did see was a Dak Prescott solid game.
Mm-hmm.
And against the 49ers, as you kind of talked about. I don't know if that's repeatable.
Okay, unmute me.
You're unmuted, buddy.
Why would I unmute you?
No, unmute the other one in
Why?
case this one hangs up again.
If
No,
if
because-
it does, I'll see it. Don't you worry.
Okay, are we good?
No, we aren't. What's your audio coming out of?
It's because I can't hear on the phone, so I turn it up on the computer, and I forgot to hit mute. But we're good. All good.
Okay.
But what you did was you got rid of my picture. So if you wanna, oh, there we go. Okay, let me share my screen. Did you give me the ability?
We're already viewing your screen right now.
Okay, let's start. Ready? So some of the free agents that Chicago has going into the offseason is some of the big ones. Riley Reef, definitely an experienced tackle. Cutting him, you'll save $3 million, but he's an experienced tackle. He's getting up there in age. He's, I believe, or it says 34 now. Some other guys, Austin, I don't know much about Nicholas Morrow, but I think he's a pretty like solid depth piece, correct?
He was
You know
a
more than me about
he was a solid linebacker. He filled in the void that Roquan left, but obviously nothing
Okay.
comparable to what Roquan had. But off of
Okay.
notable names, Byron Pringle definitely won't be returning reasonably.
No, too much money.
Yeah, so they're gonna drop him. Riley most likely won't either, even if they were trying to keep him as a piece for veteran leadership. I can't imagine that they can't go out and find somebody for a cheaper process or price. Um, let's see other notable names. N'Keal Harry definitely ain't coming back either. Sorry ass. Um, let's see. I mean, most of the guys once
So
you
the
kind
big
of,
one,
I think St. Brown's gonna return. David
yeah,
obviously
I would
is
say
gonna need a higher contract, and I don't see him returning personally.
basically, I think what this is showing is that you guys don't really have any big free agents. I think David Montgomery, I mean, his rookie contract is up. So are you guys really going to want to pay a running back? I would personally let him walk, because you do have the Khalil Herbert, and you can replace him in the draft. St. Brown, I think you tender him and bring him back on a $1 million a year contract. Maybe give him a little bit of a signing bonus. And then looking at other guys, yeah, incentives too. But I think a lot of those guys that don't play as much, they want the signing bonus. It doesn't have to be anything insane. And then other guys I'm looking at that I like that I would bring back is I would definitely try to bring back Dante Pettis. Dante Pettis is only making $1 million a year. He is the guy with some higher upside. I believe he was a second round pick. Yeah, he hasn't shown a lot, but you're paying him $1 million a year. He's a veteran guy. I'd bring back Pettis, bring back St. Brown, throw them a little cash, and yeah, that's all I see. Mike Pennell, he's not good, not good. N'Keal Harry, I think that's another guy you think about bringing back just because he was a first round pick. And some of those guys, take them 4 or 5 years to get going. But I don't know. I don't know if I'd bring him back for $2.5 million a year. But I would say the big one is Riley Reef, and as long as he doesn't retire, you probably want to bring him back, a veteran tackle. I'm not sure how good he was this year, but I do know when he was in Minnesota, he was always a above average tackle, or maybe a little closer, like for a starter, closer to average. But other than that, Peterman you can let walk, and I would say that's pretty much it. You guys don't really have any big free agents. You could honestly let all these guys walk, and I don't think many Bears fans would be complaining. So unless you guys have anything else to say, I say we move on to targets that we want to target as a front office in free agency because we have the second most cap space.
I completely agree. Before you kind of move into targets, I kind of want to talk about what kind of occurred in the front office as of recently for the Chicago Bears. Our former president, Ted Phillips, is no longer our president, as it was indicated by me saying former. We replaced him with, my God, I literally just did this research before, the Big Ten commissioner. It was, what was his name? We basically just got a new president as of a week ago by Ian Rappaport. If a kid could remember what he was talking about earlier.
Ted Phillips.
It's not Ted Phillips anymore.
That was the old one. Kevin Warren.
There it is. Yeah, Kevin Warren. He used to be an executive for the Vikings, for the Lions, and for the St. Louis Rams, and he is the former Big Ten commissioner. And so his new acquisition obviously is going to be a change. It's going to be a movement away from the very lackluster kind of acquisitions that the Bears were kind of looking for before. And I think him and Ryan Poles should have an interesting relationship together. But nonetheless, obviously with our core three of our coach being Matt Eberflus, who was just picked up last year, and then you have Luke Getsy, our offensive coordinator, both of those guys and our defensive coordinator were all picked up last year, and I can't imagine any of them going in this offseason because it's just a 1 year, and we're not the Texans. We're not going to sell on our coaches that quick. So I can't imagine that there's too much activity. But Jay, were you trying to say something? I think.
No, I was just gonna say that Luke Getzey he's a good coach. He's a guy that has a lot of experience. He was a quarterback coach in Green Bay for a while, and I know a lot of praise for him. And no surprise that he's returning as OC. But if you wanna, we can start on free agency.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so I just want to put this out there real quick. The Bears have the second most cap space in the NFL. I don't have an exact number, Josh. If you want to Google that, you can let us know. I want to say it's like 98 million. But maybe you can fact check that. Or Austin.
Pulling up 124.
Okay, so you have 26 million more than I thought. And obviously, you got to reduce some of that because they're probably going to re-sign a couple guys. So we're looking at probably 100 million to spend. And right off the bat, if I'm Chicago and I'm looking at these free agents, I'm looking and what am I thinking? The first thing I'm thinking is, okay, I want to go target veteran guys that have played well, and I don't care if I have to throw the bag at them. That's what you have to do, you know? And I mean, I guess all free agents are veterans, so that was kind of stupid. But the number one guy on here that comes to mind if I'm Chicago that I want to go get is probably Jesse Bates. Jesse Bates is arguably when he was playing his best in Cincinnati, and he's still a damn good safety. He was the best safety in the NFL. And the only other guy, I would say a couple of years ago, when Jesse Bates was playing at his peak, that I guess you could say could challenge him was probably like Kevin Byard. I think Jesse Bates is a guy that you go and you bring in. He plays free, I believe. He plays free safety, correct, right? He's not a strong?
I believe he's a free safety.
Yep.
I believe he is too, because I know his coverage grades are extremely high. The only problem I have with Jesse Bates is, okay, if you bring in Jesse Bates, what do you do with Eddie Jackson? Because I don't think Eddie Jackson is a strong safety. Now, it's not a huge transition to go from strong to free or free to strong, but it is a different position. Strong safety, you're playing typically a lot more in the box. You play some nickel. You typically have to be a bit more physical. You have to match up against tight ends. And then free safety is more like deep coverage. Nowadays, it's a lot of quarters and a lot of deep third cover three and cover two man, playing a deep half. So it is a different position, but at the end of the day, they're both safeties. And it's not, I don't think it's the end of the world if you have two free safeties playing back there, you know. But
Right.
I'd like to hear your opinion on that, Austin.
I was going to say,
And
can I
Josh.
interject on that? So
Absolutely.
the issue I have with that kind of, I don't want to say, I would say that take. Let's hope it's a little better now. Okay, cool. The issue I have with that take is, as following Eddie for the last 5 years of his career, he's very ball hawk tendency like, and so obviously that he fits the role of a free safety to the T. But the issue with his strong safety attributes is the fact that he has to be one of the weakest tacklers I have seen at safety. He, as of these last couple of years, he's been extremely injury prone. So Jesse is a great acquisition. He's a young talent. I think his value is going to skyrocket in this coming year with his new contract. But my issue is him filling that void. Yes, he'll be 100% a better free safety. I just don't know if I can see Eddie making that transition to a strong safety, or us. I mean, even if he doesn't like necessarily make that transition, I don't know what kind of equity he would be able to sell for on the trade market. And so that's kind of where my ideas lie. But I think Jesse Bates is an elite pickup. To me, he's young. he's one of the best at his positions. I can't see a reason why you wouldn't be looking for him. That's my statement on Jesse Bates.
I like it.
Okay, just to touch a little on Jesse Bates. I do believe Jesse Bates could probably play strong safety too, but the reason you go and get a guy like Jesse Bates is for coverage. And Eddie Jackson, although he's a solid safety, he has not been the safety that he was when Adrian Amos was there. So if you want to go a different avenue on this and you want to go, there is a guy that's going to be hitting free agency. His name is Adrian Amos. And we saw how Eddie Jackson played when Amos was in Chicago. So what do you think of a reunion in Chicago with Amos, who will be a lot cheaper, with Eddie Jackson? Now, the only problem I have, and Josh will back me up on this, is Adrian Amos had the worst season of his career by far. I mean, he's been a top 5 to 10 safety the last, 5 years maybe, or 3 to 5 years. And we have loved Amos. We always thought he was underrated, didn't get enough credit. And this last year, he was atrocious. I mean, he was one of the worst starting safeties in the entire NFL. Don't know what happened, but he didn't take one step back. He took like 4. And I don't know if it was a scheme, because it's the same scheme they ran the year before, but he just looked like he forgot how to play football. And that's very, very strange, because all the prior years before that, Amos was one of the most consistent players in the entire NFL. But if you want to go and sign a guy like that for $6-7 million, you can, but you also got to take into consideration a guy like that is probably wanting to go back to Green Bay, because there's.
I think he does go back to Green Bay. Because
that's what I think too.
If you look at his contract, it doesn't really, or if you look at like how he affects our cap, it's not worth getting rid of him. You know what I'm saying? What was I looking at the other day? Like if we we take such a small hit if we re-sign him, that it doesn't really make sense to try to replace him.
I just like to
You know what
point
I'm saying?
out that they say that Jimmy, Adrian are both free safeties. I'm pretty sure Jimmy's a strong safety. Actually, no. Hufanga definitely is a strong safety there, but Adrian's definitely your strong safety.
Strong.
Yeah, so with that being said,
Darnell's a free.
With that being said, I'm pretty sure Jesse can end up. They're marking him as a strong safety.
Jesse Bates.
Yeah, because they just marked him as a safety.
And that's what you go get.
Yeah.
If I'm Chicago, I mean, that's the guy that you want to throw 15, 16, 17 million at, because he's only 25, and Jesse Bates is an elite defensive back, and he has shown the upside that he can be the best safety in the NFL. I mean, everybody likes Minka. People like Jamal Adams. Jesse Bates is better than both of them. And anybody that watches, I mean, maybe not Minka this last year. Minka was pretty freaking good.
Minka was definitely.
But anybody that
safety.
watches, I don't know about that one. He had a really, really good year, but I would have to look, because I know the last few years, I think Kevin Byard's been the best safety, and that's been a guy that like no one talks about, which is very strange. But I don't know. I haven't looked at top safeties this last year. It might have actually been Minka.
Minka was definitely up there.
I was just talking for the fact that he
was
the number one in All Pro. So.
Yeah. But the All Pro. Okay, so I'm looking at. Oh no, the best safety is Derwin. That's what I was forgetting. I'd say besides like Jesse Bates and maybe Minka, is probably Derwin.
Derwin's a fucking dog. That's
He is. When he's healthy,
I can still catch a ball on him though.
And you know what's crazy is that I think I'm actually missing one DB, because there's another one. But Jair, Derwin, and Minka, I believe, were all drafted back to back.
Don't remember.
I can tell you.
I'm gonna look it up. 2000.
But moving right along. So talking about with the Bears
Yeah.
named, we discussed a little bit about how they need a backup quarterback. Tom Brady fits that
Tom
slot
Brady.
perfectly.
Tom Brady.
No, but less satirically.
Ryan Tannehill.
Fuck no. They're gonna draft one hopefully. But regarding edge rusher, if they don't end up taking Will Anderson, I feel like a not a bad guy to pick up is Yannick Ngakwe or Yannick.
Mhm.
Ngakwe. Yeah, I feel like I definitely butchered his name.
Jaguars.
He's
Or that's who
he's on the
drafted
Colts.
him.
Yeah, he's on the Colts right now. He's definitely a viable option, and obviously with the
Yan-
amount of cap space,
Yannick Ngakwe. I think Yannick Ngakwe.
yeah, I definitely butchered his name, so I apologize for everybody out there that took offense to that somehow, some way. You soft piece of shit. But anyhow, I think he's definitely a great acquisition on the edge, and let's score again. So defensive end, linebackers. Other than Deion Jones, I really couldn't imagine the Bears pursuing him. Levante David's too old. He's definitely, if they were pushing for a Super Bowl, I feel like that would be a bad acquisition, but I think he's just beyond his prime.
He
even
looked
though
pretty
was,
bad this year too.
No, Levante David was one of the top linebackers this year,
Really.
surprisingly.
I just saw him missing tackles like crazy in the few Bucks games I watched.
I'm not surprised because a few games you probably watched where the Bucks getting blown out of the water.
Yeah, I watched them play the Packers, and then I watched the game the other night, and then
If you watched them against the Niners, it probably would have been the same story too. But
I
another
didn't watch
name
that game.
I kind of want to talk on. It's not relevant to the Bears, but Evan Ingram's end of this season is something to kind of keep your eye out for because
He's a free agent this year.
Yeah, he is. He's coming up as a free agent, and I think
Was he traded or was he picked up in free agency last year?
I thought he was traded to the Jags. Was he traded or picked up, Jay? I want to.
He was signed.
What did
He
you
was
say?
signed.
He was signed.
So they
Yeah,
just signed
he
him to a
signed
1 year.
massive. Yeah. Not a. I don't think it was a 1 year, but it was a pretty massive contract that everybody thought he was overpaid. But I mean, that dude has shown. I mean, he's not even a tight end at this point. He's a big slot receiver.
Yep.
But yeah. Just real quick, I don't know. I mean, I think he might become a free agent because I think Sky Moore is probably going to be the guy that they want to fill that role. But a guy that I would target if I was Chicago is Juju. I think Juju gets a lot of hate, because I mean, Juju, a lot of drama has surrounded him over
TikTok
the years.
receiver.
But he is he's not an elite guy. He's not a number one. But if you have Juju as your number two guy and you have him, he's a very, very good slot guy. He's a power slot that can run a lot of routes over the middle, short yardage. And that's the type of guy that I think Chicago is missing in their offense. And to get a reliable guy like that, who's still relatively young. I mean, yeah, he's young. He's 26. I don't see a problem with going and signing a guy like Juju. And then the one other guy that I want to mention at the receiver position that I could see Chicago trying to go after, and I think would be a pretty good acquisition, is Allen Lazard. Josh knows I'm never been a huge fan of Allen Lazard because I think Green Bay's front office looked at him as like the next Devontae Adams. But as like a number 3 guy, he can be really good. And he's a very solid possession receiver, but the main reason that I would go after a guy like him is because of his run blocking and his ability to get open in short yardage situations.
Yep, and he can help Justin Fields get out of that pocket a lot too. If they, drop some like option stuff.
I think the Bears. It's funny. There's a guy that I would love to see the Bears go after, but I cannot imagine the Patriots don't re-sign, and it's Jacoby Myers. I think Jacoby Myers is like
Think
definitely.
he's good?
I think he's a great number 2. I don't think he's a number one option, but I don't think that's necessarily what the Bears aren't looking at anybody in this offseason as what they should be classifying as a number one option.
There are no number ones unless they trade for him, honestly.
No, there isn't. And so, like, I think the best thing that equity that they can get out of would be getting Jacoby Myers, but I cannot imagine the Patriots don't re-sign him. He is too high of a
So
ceiling
too.
for him. But
You know who we're not talking about is Orlando Brown.
I saw that. I think it's just the issue I have with Orlando Brown is I think that he's just too much money for.
He's worth it though.
I don't know if I feel as guaranteed.
Okay. Okay.
He'll transform that O line.
I would like to touch on Orlando Brown, if you guys don't mind, because Austin, you know that guy I follow, that franchise guy. So he talks a lot about Orlando Brown, and the dude is not like what people think he is. He has the reason he became so popular was because his dad played, and I believe his dad's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
But Orlando Brown
like one of the
he's
best tackles
good.
to ever touched the football world.
Yeah, his father,
Yeah,
but
his
he's
pops.
not what a lot of people think he is, or a lot of he has a reputation of being like this elite tackle, and since he's been in Kansas City, he really has not been. I mean, I don't think he's a bad tackle, but I don't even know if I'd consider him a top 10 tackle. But it's also a question of if he's going to hit the market. But the big problem that I have with tackles and really offensive linemen in general, they never hit free agency. It's very, very rare unless they're older veterans. But Austin and Josh, what do you guys think of touching on running back next? Because I see a couple guys that I could definitely see myself going for if I was a GM.
I'm all here for talking about it. Kind of tagging into who you're talking about. I mean, we have like 3 notable names. I mean, 4 that I already see in the top 5. I mean, you have Saquon. Obviously, his market value is going to shoot through the fucking ceiling. He's probably going to get the largest running back contract we've seen to point because that's just how it's just a record after every year.
Every year there's a new
massive
record.
running back,
Yeah.
they're just going to surpass that contract. I can't imagine Josh Jacobs hits that same ceiling, but he's definitely going to get a massive contract as well for a running back.
You think it'll be from the Raiders?
Yeah, but somebody I would love to see the Bears try to go after would be Kareem Hunt.
Doesn't fit the schemes. Not
Kareem Hunt would be dope.
Jacobs doesn't. I was going to say Jacobs is not just the type of back he is. He's more of a power gap scheme running back. And I believe you guys are a wide zone, right?
Are you talking about the Bears?
Yes. I think you guys are wide zone.
So, yes, we definitely are. But if you haven't seen, we've tried to run a man who is a gap running back out in a wide scheme, and it really goes quite interesting. It's what the last 4 or 5 years have been very painful. So,
no, that's my point. So you need fast running backs, and Jacobs is more of a he's not slow, but he's more of a power back. And a lot of experts believe that his success has been because of he fits the scheme. Don't want to take anything away from him, but definitely I would say look at guys that are going to fit that wide zone scheme. Boaster, but he's kind of old. Hunt, but if you want to continue on Hunt, I just wanted to add that about Jacobs.
Yeah, I mean, I think Hunt, obviously Saquon would be a great fit anywhere, but I don't think the Bears should be willing to spend the amount of money that he's going to demand. But Hunt definitely fits the play style with him being a scat back, with him being able to be such a great option in both the pass and the run. I think he's going to help what I'm aiming for this 3rd-year progression for Justin to be able to stand more in the pocket and allow him to kind of work through his playmakers. And so if Kareem Hunt's out there, his ability to make plays out in the open field, I think he'd be a great acquisition personally. And then obviously Jamal Williams, like he's again a gap running back, but he's just he just runs so well, and I feel like obviously the Bears aren't going to get him. We're not going to be able to afford him after the year he just had. But he's just such a great personality, and I feel like him being in the locker room would definitely have its kind of effects too. But I can't imagine the Lions not signing him.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say to you. I think they'll definitely bring him back. But as far as what you're saying about Kareem Hunt, that's exactly what I was thinking. He's definitely going to help Justin Fields out a lot.
Did you see that Miles Sanders is out on the market, Dale? Miles Sanders' contract was $1.3 million.
Wow.
Yeah, he's
What
gonna
round
get
they pick
paid.
him up in?
I mean, not sure, but that just means he was on his rookie deal.
Yeah.
So he's definitely
Yeah,
gonna get paid.
like a fifth-round pick.
Austin, since you're the Bear fan, what position do you want to target next, or do you want to move on to like hires, staff, or do you just literally just want to focus on the Bears the whole podcast?
I don't really want to focus on the Bears the whole podcast. I kind of want to.
Didn't think so.
I kind of
Yeah.
want to take a step
So-
aside and kind of talk about what's upcoming in this week to kind of talk our predictions, our thoughts, and then kind of analyze where we were last week on our predictions, and then
Okay.
make some foreshadowing for the
You
future.
want to look at just real quick? You want to look at corners because I know you guys have a pretty big need at corner.
I mean, it seems that you would like to look at corners, so I'm all here for looking at it.
Okay. I mean, I don't have any guys like in particular, but I just think that you guys need to target a corner.
I mean, from what I'm seeing,
Looking at some names, there's one elite guy there, Eli Apple. He would be really good in Chicago.
yeah, he would do a
I
great
think-
job. Definitely not the All-Pro James Bradbury. Let's
Yeah, no.
Let's
I
look around.
was gonna say Bradbury. Marcus Peters is a guy I love. Very scrappy, gets a lot of interceptions, but not for $14 million a year.
No, I think
Jonathan
Anthony Brown would be a
Jones,
bad
another-
option.
Yeah, that would be a good option. I think Emmanuel Mosley would be good. All those top guys look pretty good. I'm just seeing if there's any like sleepers in here.
I feel like Byron Murphy isn't too bad either. He did fairly well at the start of the year before he got injured.
Yeah. Sean Bunting Murphy or Murphy Bunting.
Yeah,
Bring
Sean
back Kyle
Bur-
Fuller.
So
fuck that.
they could, but he's been kind of meh in
Sorry
Chicago. He's
ass.
been okay. But Sean Murphy Bunting, that is who I would go after. Sean Murphy Bunting's a young corner, plays 25 for Tampa Bay, and he has been locked down this year. The only other guy I see is maybe like Bryce Callahan, but he's
That's the fucking
31
goat.
and he's like 31. I feel like he might be a little bit
He's definitely too old.
on
He's
the
a
back
former
nine of his
Bear.
career.
He's a stud though.
Yeah, but
He's such a
Logan
great
Ryan.
cover corner in the slot.
Logan Ryan might be a decent vet. Y'all could bring in for pretty cheap.
Honestly, I think I want to look at them trying to make young acquisitions on the defense and then try to get like one veteran or like not one, sorry. Try to get like 2 or 3 on vet contracts and build like a culture that they can kind of work around in the next couple years. But-
Yo, Jay, you remember Josh Jackson?
yeah, unfortunately I do. Josh Jackson was a roller coaster. I know we thought he
really
was going
was,
to be the next Jair.
There was a time where I thought he was going to be a beast.
Okay, do you remember the draft class where we got Randall and then Quinton Rollins?
Yeah,
Yeah, they were both dog shit.
yeah.
I mean, Randall was okay, but Rollins was terrible.
Oh, and we had Sidney Jones, didn't we?
And remember Josh Jones, the safety?
Yeah, from NC State.
And he
Dude, I
looked
had high hopes from him.
Yeah, and everybody thought he was like gonna be like Jordan Poyer. But anyways, that's like I don't want to get stuck. He kind of looks like Poyer too.
We
Not
can't-
really. He's kind of not as handsome as Poyer.
I figured
No
you were
homo.
about to say that. I was
I mean, have
sitting
you
on the
seen
back.
Jordan Poyer?
He's a good-looking dude, no homo.
Jay's
He
got a
looks like
crush on him.
no, he looks like the model Jeremy Meeks. You guys know who Jeremy Meeks is?
Not
Uh-uh.
on my
He's like the guy. So he was a criminal and he got
Oh.
arrested, and then
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking
he got
about.
on like the he got. So I'll tell the people, he got like a bunch of letters in the mail, like hundreds and hundreds every day, from girls who saw his mugshot on Facebook, and he got out of jail, and now he is one of the top models in the world. He's a movie star, so he's doing quite a bit. But anyways, back to NFL, not male models.
Yeah, great transition, Jay. So, referencing back to last week's playoffs, the wild card was, I would say, not how any of us predicted. And so I'm going to throw out the games and then we'll talk about who we had and obviously how that panned out. And so the first game was San Francisco versus the Seahawks. And I believe we all expected San Francisco to win. And San Fran did. No surprise.
I didn't suspect Seattle to put up such a it was really only the first half, but they put up a good fight.
For how well they played, the score was not as it wasn't as big of a lead as they should have had. They played the first half as well as they possibly could, and it did not pan out well.
Yep.
Jay, what are you doing?
I can't see him.
You hear me?
Oh,
Yeah.
There he is.
Yeah, the damn fucking Zoom thing dropped. I can't say that. The damn Zoom thing dropped me again.
I was sitting here and you were talking, and I was like, why is he talking but not?
No, I know. I realized when I was talking and nobody was acknowledging me. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
probably muted or some shit.
You were. But moving along.
Dude, okay, you know what? If you guys, my birthday is coming up, January 31st. If you guys want to get me a mic or a computer, I'd appreciate it. Make the podcast an investment for the podcast. Austin, you can probably count it as a tax write-off for your business. And
Jay, do you own a pair of AirPods?
He said for your business. What business am I running? And what tax?
Jay, do you own a pair of
AirPods?
Podcast.
Just put in your AirPods, bro. It'll be fine.
I'm not making profit off of
My
this.
My AirPods don't connect to my laptop because it's not a MacBook.
Cool. Okay, I'm gonna buy you a Yeti. Jay.
They still should. Have you tried?
I have tried numerous times.
I know,
so I guess the next, and then when I join the podcast on my phone, you guys don't like it because I turned the camera sideways.
Yeah,
well, that's what mine's right now.
Y'all got beef with me. That's what I'm actually gonna do.
Hey,
I'm
Josh,
actually gonna do that.
Josh, do me a favor.
What's up?
I'm gonna buy him a Yeti. Can you buy him a $50 webcam so we don't have to see him in two fucking? He literally is in 2P. He might have 2 pixels going across the screen, dude. It's so bad.
Yeah, I'll buy him a webcam. I don't care.
Yeah, buy him I don't care if you buy him. Just buy him something that's 720 at least, so we can see some of Jason that doesn't look like he's fucking blurred out like a motherfucker.
Yeah, we need the viewers to know how handsome he is.
Yeah, and I'm buying him a Yeti. I'm gonna get him $100 mic because he fucking needs it, bro. And it's an investment for the future. So I'll snag that for him. But referencing back to the games, Jacksonville versus the Chargers. Did you have the Jags or did you have the Chargers?
I want to say I had the Jags because I was talking about how Trevor Lawrence never loses on Saturday.
I do recall you saying that. T-Law doesn't lose on Saturdays. That's what I learned the hard way because I chose the Chargers. And, that obviously didn't pan out.
But I tell you, when halftime was around, I was like, yeah, I'm an idiot.
Yeah, boys.
And then the greatest script ever written.
How's the audio?
Much better. Did you connect?
Sounds amazing.
Did you connect it to your phone?
Yep.
Yeah, I could see. That's perfect.
What do you mean you can see?
Look at that crystal clear image as well.
Yeah, it's because when you film on your phone.
Is that better?
Yeah, it's better.
Let's go.
This is already so much better. All right, never mind. We're not buying him any mics anymore.
All right, he's dead to us.
All right. Did you choose the Jags or Chargers in that Saturday night game?
Talking to me or Josh?
No, I was talking to the other Jason.
Okay. God, who did I take? I think I took the Chargers, and I was right for the first 58 minutes of the game. Until the Chargers charged.
Until the Chargers charged. I think we need to clip that because I don't think there's a better way of describing what happened in that game.
Hmm.
The Brandon
Oh.
Staley Staley. Oh my
I can
god.
do that. I forgot about that. Josh, you see that?
Josh is looking at it like he's never seen that before.
I forgot I could do that.
That's the greatest screen. That's the greatest screen ever.
And Austin, when you get a chance, it's been like over a month. Check the Discord.
Oh shit, I haven't even looked at the Discord for a while.
Check
Oh, I haven't either.
Yeah, give it a check right now.
Give it a gander. No, I'll give it a gander.
I
after.
think I know what's gonna be in there.
Yeah, I think I have an idea what's gonna be in there. Just to let you know, if you think what you send is gonna be bad, I'm gonna pull up a photo from that Seahawks Packers game where you guys blew a 16-point lead in 2 minutes.
Yeah, you don't have to get that serious.
Oh, we got that serious.
We're
You just
One
brought
of
up
my
we're
friends.
You brought up my
You know
real
that-
sadness in a moment.
good. We're good. That was a tough time to be a Packer fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need to go there. We've had a lot more heartbreaks than you have. You guys have that one heartbreak.
I have had
we've-
two to reference. I've actually had three, and two of them were against the Packers. One was watching a fat dude walk into the end zone with our backup quarterback on his back.
DJ Raji.
Yeah, fucking.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
and
that's
then
fair.
Randall Cobb streaking butt fucking naked down the seam
Okay,
on
wait,
a 4th
what
and
about?
8.
Oh, I thought you meant the one on when we came back down 20-0 at halftime, and then that guy went viral for going, no, it's Randall Cobb again. Josh, you know, you know what I'm talking
Yeah, I do.
about? That's like the funniest thing I've ever seen.
That's when Rogers went in because he got hurt, and then that was the Perk
Yeah.
game. That was the
it's-
Perk
yeah,
game.
Yeah, he was on Percocet, and he's probably having some like whiskey in the locker room, and he comes out and throws like 4 fucking touchdowns and wins the damn
Yeah.
game.
The Perk game.
Yeah, the perk game. Well, you know, apparently every game now has been perks and ayahuasca and
Yeah,
who
that's
knows
what they say.
Who knows whatever other types of like vitamins he's taking to have.
He'll never escape that.
Yeah.
I don't think he's trying to escape that.
No, he's not, because like even on the
No.
Pat McAfee show, he's like, "Yeah, I might need to take a trip down to the jungle at this off season."
I know, and you see Pat's gonna go with him. All the boys. and Pat,
Yeah.
they're gonna go with him to Peru, and they're all gonna sit in a circle, and they're gonna take ayahuasca.
And do the ceremony. Yeah.
Yeah, and do this.
Have you ever
Man, I
seen
hope-
the ceremonies on YouTube?
No,
Dude,
no.
it's nuts. It's just mostly people just throwing up everywhere.
Not a surprise.
Okay, I'll say this: if Green Bay wins the Super Bowl this year, we'll do ayahuasca live in a circle.
I'll do it.
You're
Well, I said
referencing, you're referencing
I
the
said this year,
2023
but that-
season,
yeah.
yeah?
2022.
Okay, well,
Season.
thank God.
Yeah.
Oh
He's referencing a season.
no,
that-
I'm down if they win the 2023 season. I'm down.
I'll do it too. If the Packers win,
Okay,
we'll
but
all
I-
sit in the same circle. And
Okay.
I'll film it. We'll sit on
Oh
the
my God.
pod.
Okay,
We'll run
but
a fucking episode.
Let's be real. Let's be real. If Josh would do it, even if they didn't make the playoffs.
I would do it if it's in front of me.
Oh yeah, I know you would.
Jeez, Josh is a big fucking
Yeah, Josh is that guy.
Nah, I'm a good boy.
Sunday morning. Bills versus Dolphins. Quite the game that nobody anticipated. We all chose
Oh
the Bills,
my God.
but man, Skylar Thompson, average, but somehow, some way,
Average.
they were in that game the entire time. Josh
Stayed in
Allen
the game,
donated
yeah.
footballs to the other team
Yep.
frequently that game.
As per usual, really.
Yeah, moving along,
Mm.
Minnesota versus the Giants. What a surprise to none, because everybody was sitting here saying the Giants were going to win. I was the only one being like, the Vikings will win, and that didn't pan out.
Biggest frauds I've seen in many years, honestly.
I knew they were frauds, but I thought the Giants were just as equal of frauds. But Brian Dable, I have to tip my hat to, because he proved me wrong. He showed that he can create, he really is the quarterback whisperer, because Danny Dimes looked unreal that game.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's
Jay.
what I said. I said if Danny Dime shows up, there's no way they lose.
I agree, Jay.
I think just when Dable got hired, I said I think he was the best hire of the year by not even close, by a long shot. And I think that man has shown how damn good of a coach he is. He changed the culture in that locker room. Every quarterback he touches, that man's like, I mean, he's like a womanizer for quarterbacks. That man just every quarterback he comes into contact with turns into a. I'm not gonna say Danny Dimes is elite, um, but he's got to be top 2, top 3 in the league right now. I'm just kidding. No, Daniel Jones he's definitely improved a lot, and he's. I mean, would you guys say he's a top 14, 15 quarterback right now? And he looks like a franchise guy. I'd resign him.
I would
Have
listen to it. I'd listen to an argument for he's top 10.
I'm just more amazed that Jay said Brian Dable was like heads above shoulders over every other coach, even though Mike McDaniel was literally picked in this offseason. I think like he's definitely the best coach, but Mike definitely deserves flowers for turning Tua into actually a marketable quarterback.
And Peterson.
Huh?
Doug Peterson. Great hire.
Oh my God, that's completely I'd actually give Doug number 2, and then I give McDaniel's number 3 because
Yep.
Doug.
But
Balled out.
I think Dowell could be coach of the year. Honestly, like he's got a good. If he won, I wouldn't be like surprised.
I wouldn't either. I would be more surprised if it wasn't 1, 2, 3 on how we just listed it. If it wasn't Dable, Peterson, and then Mike McDaniel, and they're all new coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, well, obviously Kyle Shanahan's gonna be in there. Andy probably will get a vote or 2. Nick Sirianni is definitely gonna be up there.
Yeah,
I completely
deserves
disregard my statement. Nick Sirianni is probably going to be second, right behind Dable, and then Peterson should be third, but it's probably going to be Shanahan. There's a lot of solid coaches in the league. I could name probably like 8 to 10 that are. Josh, don't look. That was actually criminal. Nobody can hear you, and I don't think anybody wants to right now.
Me and Jay are about to have some problems.
You should pull up to Arizona. If you want, I can piss on his pillow, and you can shit in his blanket. That's for the Bears photo. I'll piss right on both sides. So right when you flip it over, it's gonna hit you both ways.
We're gonna pull what's her name? The Johnny Depp girl.
Oh my God, an Amber Heard. We're gonna show on the side of
There
his
you
bed.
go. Yeah.
Leave a fat Duke right there. Jay, we're really appreciating your content right now. You and Anne Frank would communicate extremely well right now.
You and the white noise.
Yeah, if you guys want to come by and you guys want to do those actions
in your bedroom,
I mean, I'll take a sacrifice for the pod. If that's what's gonna make it go viral, then that's what we got to do.
Yeah.
Josh should be Josh. I'll have the JT card waiting for you on my bed, signed. I
highly doubt it.
I'll get it signed. Okay.
I don't believe you.
I wouldn't either. There was a lot of cap in that statement. But anywho, moving on.
I got a Brock Purdy card and a Josh Allen card that they're gonna both go to the Super Bowl, and I'm gonna sell both of those, and I'm gonna get whatever I want.
Are you gonna get the JT card?
Yes.
Okay.
Among other things.
Dude, why is it if Brock loses to Jalen Hurts? No, not a chance.
The only people that might be bigger for us than the Vikings are the Eagles.
Bro, stop the cap. Stop the cap. Stop that.
They are not a 13-win team, though.
Jay's gotta unmute himself to say some shit right there.
Yeah,
he just can't
for the
believe
love
what
of
he just
God.
said.
Okay. Let me just say, do I think Philly's the best team in the NFC or the NFL? No. But if you're comparing them to Minnesota, that's criminal. I mean, find a hole in that roster. They don't have one.
I'm not comparing it to Minnesota. I'm just saying that they're fraudulent. Like,
I mean, yeah, Minnesota's a joke. That's like a whole different tier. I mean, I appreciate Kirk Cousins, in 4th and 10 there, only throwing it 3 yards there to, because he wanted to show No. He didn't. Instead of throwing 10, he threw a 3 because he wanted to show his appreciation for DeMar Hamlin. So I respect that. But no, you can't. You cannot put Philly in the same boat as Minnesota. Minnesota, I would say they were definitely frauds. I don't even know if they were a playoff team. But Philly, I think Philly might be the team to beat in the NFC. I still think the Niners are just a tad bit better, and I'm picking them to win it all. And I've been saying this since like week 7 or 8 when they got Christian McCaffrey. And everybody's like, "Oh, blah, 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 blah. Niners aren't going to win it all." Well, guess what, you stupid clowns. Look who's right now. And as far as Philly, no, I think Philly's a real deal, and I like their future, and I think they're doing a lot of things right.
Yeah.
I
Have
think
you
they had-
seen the list of free agents that Philly's got?
You
that
said
are
I
coming
like
this
what
year?
they're doing with their
yes,
future. They have a billion.
It's
guys
literally
they have to sign.
everybody.
They
It's
have to sign
literally
everybody this
everybody
year.
on that team is a free agent.
They ain't got no future. They have a
Okay,
present.
so they have. Let me say this: they're gonna bring back Jalen Hurts. They're gonna have Devontae Smith. They're gonna have AJ Brown. Dallas Goddard, he's coming back, correct?
I think he was on the. He might have been on the market.
Okay, and Darius Slay's gonna be back.
Yeah, but James is gone. Their entire
Well,
defensive line is
well,
basically gone.
Fletcher Cox
How
gone.
much?
Hassan
before
Reddick.
you
Kelsey
say
maybe.
gone- Whoa,
He
wait,
don't
wait, hold on.
retire.
Kelsey might
Before
retire.
you
Lane Johnson might retire.
Okay, before you say gone, how much cap space do they have? Because they might have a lot of cap space, and they might be able to bring back half of
All
those
of
guys. You
I
know,
really
you can't
hope they have
just.
140 million because that's what they're gonna need.
No, I'm just saying you can't just like assume they're gone. Hold on, my headphones are plugged. Give me a sec.
Drum
I
roll.
think. Damn, fucking freaking.
Uh,
Oh, that's why noise canceling's on. Couldn't hear anything.
Shout out to Beats.
Shout out to Beats.
Not sponsored.
it is not readily available. Let me look a little further.
We need the in-depth research. Come on, Josh. This is make or break. This is for state.
That can't be right.
Anyhow, wrapping up the final Sunday game.
It's saying here
We
4
had-
million, but there's no way that's right. Go ahead. I'm gonna keep looking.
Ravens, Bengals. Bengals won. No surprise. Ravens had no chance with a backup quarterback. And Lamar Jackson is, as John Harbaugh said, 200% likely to
okay.
return to Baltimore.
Okay, hold on. Let's touch on that game real quick. I think something you're forgetting is if the Ravens had Lamar in that game is not close. I think the Ravens, they like literally had that game in the bag until a QB sneak fumble returned by a 320-pound man, or however big Sam. I don't think
Sam
he's
Hubbard,
320.
he's not 320.
Yeah, he's like 265. That man returned that ball 99 yards to the house. So
Ohio State kid.
yeah, no one cares. Pump the brakes a bit on Cincinnati, okay? Because they almost lost to a Baltimore Ravens team without Lamar Jackson. And yes, I'm a bit of an advocate for Cincinnati, but they did not look good. They did not play good. They did not look like the Bengals. So I don't want to say no surprise because I mean the Ravens like nearly won that game, and then even with the fumble, they almost caught that Hail Mary. And knowing Harbaugh, he probably would have gone for 2 because he goes for 2 in a lot of times in those situations. Now, would he have gotten it? Probably not, but still something to talk about.
I agree, Jason. Way to say that 8 times. But nonetheless, I think what we're kind of missing the fact is the fact that yes, they still did win, and they're facing a Buffalo team that went and played a third string quarterback and beat them by 4.
Yep.
So I don't know if the 2
I
and 3
thought
seed.
Huntley looked pretty good, especially in like that second after that interception. He changed his ways and he started slinging it.
I just think that they didn't have a chance with Huntley being in there, unfortunately.
No, they didn't.
And then wrapping it off, me and Josh already talked about that Bucks Cowboys game, how Dak somehow dominated the game, and Tom Brady looked 45 for the first time in his career. And so I wonder if they're going to get back together after he quits football, or if Giselle's really just moving in with his personal trainer, and Tom Brady's finally going with the Leonardo DiCaprio approach and going for 25-year-olds now. So we shall see.
Can't blame him.
I think so.
Eagles have a cap space of 9.1 million.
Are they 32nd in the league in salary cap?
Yes,
Dude, 9.1.
they are last. They are last in the league. They're toast.
Yeah.
They got the draft picks, but they're toast.
Dude, they have zero money to their
Okay,
name.
so they put literally their entire future into this year.
Yeah, they invested
Okay,
everything.
how
It's
many?
panned out
but
pretty
don't-
well for them.
But they have 3 first-round draft picks, right?
2.
Okay, so if they don't win the Super Bowl this year, they're screwed.
Mhm,
They
basically.
did the all. Wow,
It was
that's
the all in. They pushed their
insane.
chips all in the middle, and they
Josh,
said,
I didn't realize it was that little. I knew it was going to be little, but I didn't think that little.
hey, that makes me happy. Okay, can
Yeah, that
one of
Brennan
you
kid.
find out? Yeah, yeah. So Austin, just to catch you up, we have a kid in our. God, I don't know. I feel like Josh and I are in a lot of group chats together. God, how many are we in together? Like 3, maybe 2 or
Yeah.
3. And there's this kid. I met him for the first time recently. Nothing bad to say about him. Nice guy, kind of what I expected, which is a compliment. And he is the biggest Philadelphia Eagles fan on the planet. And this guy sends us like literally every single update on the team. Like, I'm not even joking. Their backup long snapper could get hurt, and he'll send it to our group chat and be like, "Did you guys hear about this breaking news?" And we're like, "No." The other day, he sent us a thing about how there's like a 1% chance that if the Eagles and Niners play and there's like snow issues in Philly, that the game could be in San Fran, and how he wasn't happy about that. And we're like, okay, buddy, first you got to beat the Giants, and then we'll focus on if San Fran wins too. But the point is, we love Brennan, but he's definitely a what was that
Hopeless
3-letter?
romantic.
Not a hopeless romantic. What was the 3-letter word you? Not the word, but it was like a what was the? Yeah, the acronym. Yeah, it was like a P something PRC. Was that it? Oops.
NPC.
NPC. Yeah, Brennan's definitely an NPC. And Josh, if you met him in person like I did,
Yeah, he's an NPC
Um,
Eagles fan. He's in the stands going.
no, he's quiet. He doesn't talk. I tried to get him. We were at Sharky's, and I tried to get him on the dance, like to go dance, and he was just like okay. But anyway, so back to Philly. Wow, I did not realize how screwed they are, because he's always telling us about how screwed Green Bay is. So probably gonna send him some things tonight.
Yeah, might have to.
Yeah.
No, you gotta send
But
it
yeah, if
after
y'all
they
want to check,
possibly
it's on
lose.
overthecap.com is where I got this.
Over the
info
cap.
from.
So my
Over the
other
cap.
question is, I was gonna ask, do either of you have the free agents that are gonna hit the market for Philly?
In
I
Philly,
can look it up.
I can pull it up if you would like. I'll let Josh do it because I'm not trying to destroy my internet.
I know Fletcher Cox is on that list.
Yeah.
Jason Kelsey's on that list.
Do they have a lot of notable names on that list?
Brandon Graham,
Ah.
Robert Quinn,
Jesus
Hargrave, Jason Kelsey, Bradbury, TJ Edwards, Ndamukong Suh, Boston Scott, Miles Sanders, CGJ, Gardner Minshew, if that matters, TJ Edwards, a bunch of guys.
They're projected to have $10 million in cap space next year.
Okay, TJ Edwards, I just want to know, he's a damn good young linebacker. Like he's had an absolute breakout year, and that is not a guy you want to lose to free agency. I don't know for sure. I want to say a Georgia guy, maybe. And then the other big name I heard on there was obviously the lineman, but they would still have Lane Johnson and Jordan. What is it, Jordan Malata? Yeah. So and then Landon Dickerson's still there. So I don't think it's like I don't think the O line is going anywhere. But Miles Sanders, you're going to lose half your defenders. That's Chauncey Gardner Johnson. They just gave up they just traded for him. That's crazy. And Robert Quinn. So I guess both those guys, unless they come back, were kind of like rentals.
How about James? Obviously, James Bradbury was the top 5 cornerback this year, and he's gone.
Yep.
We just named like half of their pass rush is gone. Their
Both
best
their
run
running
stuffer
backs are
of the
gone.
last decade is gone. It's unless he gets
Kazir
like
White.
franchise
Y'all
tag.
know who Kazir White is? His name doesn't ring a bell, but he's a free agent. Andre Dillard.
Because okay. So Andre Dillard, he's like a decent swing tackle, pretty good backup piece. But he actually, I don't think I don't think he's a starter. But Kazir White is he's another one of those guys. Very, very good young player on the rise. He's a linebacker. I believe he's an edge guy. So yeah, I think White. Who was the other linebacker you mentioned? Who's going to hit the? Because both those guys you do not want to hit the
Edwards.
market. Yeah, if
Yeah,
they lose
Edwards.
both of those guys, that is going to be the downfall of Philly. And on top of losing like guys like Bradbury and Gardner, Chauncey Gardner Johnson,
The
is
whole
like
D
one of-
line's gone. Fletcher Cox, Robert Quinn, Brandon Graham, Javon Hargrave.
Yeah, at least they're
Gone.
keeping Hassan Reddick.
You'd be surprised though. I feel like what they're going to do is they're going to try to do something like what the Saints did.
Backloading
where-
contracts.
Yeah, and I don't know how many guys are going to agree to that and how many guys are going to be able to retain, but I don't think all those guys are going to hit free agency.
Going to be some restructuring going on for sure.
Exactly.
It's gonna be tough though, because then they have to dance. I mean, if you do that, you're basically pissing away so much of your salary cap in the future too.
You might be able to save 2 of those guys, 3 of them that are on that list. Most of them that I listed are gone.
We got to view it from the fact that these guys are like the GMs, the guys who are operating contracts. They're geniuses,
It's
so
true.
they're gonna figure out a way to retain even more than that. They're gonna find out a way. They're gonna find out a way for them to like
It'll be interesting.
backload.
Okay,
throw
real
people into
quick.
little contracts.
Real quick. So I agree with you that there are some geniuses at the general manager position, but if we're talking about guys like the Arizona Cardinals general manager, who I don't even know his name, but he got fired. He was god awful. Brian Gutekunst is nowhere near a genius. Sometimes I think he's like special needs, which is not an insult. It's okay if you are. But anyways, Howie Roseman, a lot of people look at because that's the Philadelphia's GM. A lot of people look at him as like being the best general manager in the NFL, and a lot of high profile people. So I feel like they're probably going to get it figured out. How? I have no freaking idea. I'm glad I'm not in his shoes, having to do that right now. But I have a lot of faith in Howie Roseman. He knows how to construct a roster, and I feel like he's probably going to be able to bring back at least half those guys, at least like the key core young players.
You know, as a future finance guy, I'm telling you, if the GM's the only guy who's making financial runs through this, you're definitely blowing smoke up my ass. He definitely has about 30 dudes who are constantly fucking running projections and operating contracts who are sitting here trying to figure out the best options and the best way to pay it. And so that's why I was like sitting here, I was like, yeah, the GM definitely is like the key. He's the one who makes the final calls, but like no fucking way he's the one coming up with contracts. So
Right.
ain't no disrespecting the little guys, because that's obviously my dream job is to work into that kind of position. And so for you to say that, I'm like, yeah, okay, my ass, he's fucking doing all that shit himself. I'd love to see his numbers.
All right. With all due respect, let's get to next week's games because I got to sign off here soon.
Respect taken. Let's do it. Get it going, Josh. You start it off.
All right. Let's talk about Bengals Bills.
We're not even going
Um,
chronological. This is madness, Josh.
I don't have the. I just have like the bracket here in front of me. I don't have the scheduling.
Kansas City and the Jags play first.
Kansas City Jags. I think that could be a really interesting game, actually. Um, Big advantage is that it is at home. Arrowhead's super loud. Trevor Lawrence's first time in the playoffs. I don't know, but I think
It's
I
a
do.
Saturday. Last time I checked,
Oh,
and
uh-oh,
I recall Josh saying something along the lines of Trevor Lawrence has never
uh-oh.
lost on Saturday.
Well, this is going to be definitely the biggest test he's had so far on a Saturday. Um, Going to Arrowhead and beating that team would be nothing short of a miracle, honestly. But I don't know. I got KC by like 10, let's say 30-20. I think that it'll be a good game. I think it'll be a definitely like a first half, like, it'll be maybe let's say 14-14 or like maybe like 10-14 in the first half. And then I think KC is going to come out that second half, just take it away. That's just my prediction. But I don't know. Like I said, if Jacksonville wins, it'll be nothing short of a miracle.
Following up on that, last year we were introduced to another man who beat Patrick Mahomes in his second year, and I'm 100, yeah, Joe Shiesty. No way on God's green earth am I thinking that the Jacksonville Jaguars are ready to compete with the Chiefs, but I think it'll be a close game, probably a little more than a one score game, probably like 8 or 9 points. I'm thinking maybe like either 31-21 or maybe even like 38-27, 38-30, somewhere in that ballpark. And I mean, T Law needs to take that next step this game if they want to have a chance. He did not look, obviously second half aside, he looked awful in that first half. And he's not going to be able to play one half against the Chiefs. It's just not a team you can pull that off against.
Mhm.
And so we're
You
going to
think
have
it
to
was
see.
just playoff jitters or what?
That's kind of tough. I mean, like we can sit here and analyze how Zay Jones was kind of wide open running that route to the back pylon, and he sailed him. So we can attribute it to jitters. We can attribute it to maybe solid scheme. There's a lot of things we could say, but I think that they adjusted. He relaxed, and he kind of came out like he normally did. And so I think that in the second game, we'll see a completely different kid than we saw the first half in that other game.
I think so too.
Okay.
Okay. I think it's going to be a lot closer than people are anticipating. I have not looked at what Vegas has for the game as like the over under or the point spread, but I'm going to take Jacksonville. I'm going to take Jacksonville. I know that's going to shock some people, but I'm going to take Jacksonville. This isn't like if I'm actually a betting man and I'm putting money on this, I'm taking Kansas City, but I'm going to take Jacksonville because of a few reasons. One, T Law has never lost on Saturday, and that man is just. I'm gonna believe in Josh here, and I'm gonna go with that narrative, and I'm gonna run with it. But that's not actually why I'm taking Jacksonville. I just think the energy and the continuity around that team right now is very high, and they have a lot of morale, and that's very very scary when you get into the playoffs. Nobody wants to face a hot team, and Jacksonville kind of reminds me of the 2010 Packers or even like the 2011 Giants. The Packers were 10-6; they were six seed, and back then there were only six seeds. And 2011, the Giants were 9-7, and they were also a six seed. I think they're more comparable to that Green Bay team because that was a very young team, and people thought that Green Bay won it a year early. So I think Jacksonville, no one expects them to win it this year. I'm not saying they are, but no one expected Cincinnati to go all the way to the Super Bowl last year. And a lot of people thought they made it a year early too. So I think Kansas City probably, they might be a little cocky and think, we've been here, done that. We're here every year, and they might, coming off a bye, be a little bit rusty. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Jacksonville go in there and shake some shit up for sure. And I'm going to take Jacksonville 27-24.
Field goal game, huh?
Yeah, field goal game.
Once again.
Next game? What's the next game? You want me to start off the next game?
Yeah, it's Eagles Giants.
Okay, Eagles Giants. So I don't think this is going to be a blowout by any means, but I do think that the Giants are going to run into a buzzsaw here. I just think that a team like Philly, you do not want to see in the playoffs. They're very hot. They can run the ball. They can throw the ball. They have very sound defense, especially when that defense heats up. They're scary. I'm going to take Philly. I think it's going to be like a 27-16 type of game. I think the Giants are going to play it a lot closer than maybe the score says, but I think Philly's roster is just too good for the Giants, and I think the Giants have over maximized what they can do with their roster because they really don't have a good roster, but they've looked unbelievable with the guys they have had. So I'm taking Philly.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I think that I think the Eagles will probably beat them by 2 scores, unless the NFL has something to say about it. But I don't know. I just think I agree that like New York doesn't have the roster to keep up with the weapons that Eagles have, and the Eagles don't play really a traditional style of football like the Vikings do and stuff like that. Like that. Like the Eagles are going to throw more trickery at you. They're going to, next thing you know, Boston Scott's 40 yards down the field catching a touchdown. You never see it coming. And I think that kind of stuff is going to kill the Giants.
It's actually funny that you referenced that because I was talking to a Giants fan earlier this week, and he was telling me that Boston Scott has over 50% of his touchdowns against the Giants.
He's dangerous.
That's actually that's a fact, and that's what was mind blowing that you referenced that. Yeah.
Okay, I just want to say something real quick of why I think the Eagles are going to win, and it's a reference I heard from a good friend of mine recently, and it was that if you look at the roster, they have a good roster because they have a good team. So that's how they're going to win.
Is that Brennan?
No, fuck, I forgot who said that shit, but somebody, yeah, I was gonna say somebody in this podcast said that shit, and I forgot when you said that, Josh. But you
was that me?
Yeah, you deadass said they're gonna win because they got a good roster because they got a good team, and we were like,
I was talking about the Bucks though.
Yeah,
I was saying that when you look at the team, like if you look at like the names, that they should be good, but they're not, is what I was saying.
Yeah, no, you're like they're.
They got a good Madden team. Why aren't they good in real life?
All right, going with the Giants Eagles game, I think it's actually going to be a 1-score game. I think that this division game is going to play extremely tough, completely different than how the games in the regular season did, just because Jalen's kind of banged up. And so I think the Giants are going to give them a run for their money, but I think the Eagles will edge them out by, again, a field goal margin of a game. It'll probably be like a 24-21 game. But moving along.
Interesting.
That morning game on Sunday, it is the Bengals-Bills rematch. And this one will actually go 4 quarters. I think this one should be quite an interesting game. Neither one of those two teams looked good last week. I agree, Jason. And I think it's it's going to be a real toss-up. Both quarterbacks are phenomenal. But I think it's really whichever defense actually decides to show up this game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Buffalo's bound to have a game where they finally step into their role when it comes to an extremely competitive game. And so I think Buffalo will edge this. I think they'll edge the Bengals out by a touchdown. It'll probably be like a 28-21 kind of game.
Go ahead, Jason.
Okay. This is a tough one. I think that both teams right now are underperforming. If we just look at their last performances, I did not like how Buffalo played at all. I really did not think they looked good. I mean, you almost lost to Skylar Thompson, who completed like 19 for 45. Was that his completion to attempt rate?
Let us look it up, shall we?
I think it was 19-45, maybe not even that good, which is
Elite.
yeah. You found it?
No, it's me and the NFL app are on.
All right,
taking our
I'll
sweet
keep
time.
talking. Anyways, so I'm not a fan of how Josh Allen's playing football right now. I know Josh, you mentioned it about is he a fraud? No, he's not a fraud. I think he's closer to like Brett Favre, where he's just kind of a gunslinger. You're going to get a lot of good and a lot of ugly. Um, I don't like how he's playing right now. I mean, I think he had 3 turnovers in that game, and it's going to bite them in the ass. It's going to catch up to them. When Josh Allen is on, he's on, but when he's off, he looks terrible. And I think that this is the week where I think Cincinnati's going to probably get the best of the Bills, unless some weird Damar Hamlin entity wants to interfere with that. And
That's the NFL shows up.
exactly, unless the NFL wants to rubber band this game or make it into some miracle story, or some agenda they want to push, then I'm taking Cincinnati. I think they're the better team, and I think they're better built. And I don't trust. I can't talk. I don't trust Josh Allen in big games, except last year against
Someone's got their hand raised.
Someone who
Austin, what's up?
Austin. What's your question?
It was 18 for 45. Just want to throw that out there.
Okay, so I said 19 for 45.
Yeah,
so
you're
he
close.
actually he underperformed. He underperformed, but I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I don't think Joe Burrow is going to go 18 for 45.
I'm thinking
I think
19.
he's probably going to go more like, probably like 19 for 28.
Nah, he'll definitely
I'll
go
probably
over
throw more than that.
35 attempts, so he'll probably go end up like 27 for 35, maybe 25
Yeah,
for 35 at worst.
Playoff games, so probably like 25 or 35.
But I agree with what Austin said. It's going to depend on which team's defense shows up, because I don't know, just from looking at both of those games last week, neither offense was necessarily what they're supposed to be. So it's going to be a big defensive game, and I think it's going to be a field goal game. Like y'all thought the other games would be. I think this is a game that's going to be a field goal game, and I think it's going to be Bills 20, let's say 27-24, and maybe not even that high, maybe like a 17-14 game. But I got the Bills over on this one just because I think they're like roster wise, they're better, they're more well rounded.
Josh,
and
I got to interrupt you for 1 second. So, wait, you think maybe 2 of the top 3 quarterbacks in the league, you think they're only going to score
31
what is
combined
that?
points.
Yeah, 31 combined points.
Well, look what did Joe Burrow do last week?
That was against the AFC North. He typically doesn't play too hot against the AFC
I know,
North.
but 17-14 is like that's like, man, if you put money on that, and you're gonna win the jackpot if you hit.
Like I said, dude, it's gonna be a defensive game. I think there's gonna be a lot of punt going on.
Okay, I don't think so. You know how they have like the over and under in Vegas?
Uh-huh.
That's like the under. Like you're like 5 notches down, but no, I agree. It could be a defensive game, but I just don't think it's this game.
You're right. It's unlikely that there's only less than about 30 points scored between the two, but
31. But yeah.
but I think it's gonna be. I really do think it's gonna be a defensive game. I think give me the Bills by 3. And you're right. Maybe the score doesn't matter, but give me the Bills by 3.
Okay, Josh, when we lived together, he would always do this thing to everybody. And if you said something he didn't like, he would just he would look at you and go.
Glad we got a live
Sometimes I just don't got no comment.
Yeah, no comment. But last thing I want to say, or question I want to ask: do you guys think any weird Damar Hamlin shit happens this game?
Fuck no.
Or not shit, like do you think there's going to be any sort of like miracle that happens, like any sort of like the Bills win on a Hail Mary or
Two
some
kickoff return touchdowns.
yeah, or like DeMar's on the sideline and somehow catches a game-winning interception.
All right, moving on.
I don't know. You never know. I feel like this is gonna be the game everyone's gonna be watching because that only happened like what was that 3 weeks ago maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it was.
I don't know, man.
And,
I feel like something is gonna happen in this game where it's gonna end on like an onside
script
kick
writers are busy
return,
this
or
week.
Joe Burrow's gonna like drop, like he's gonna have run in for the game-winning touchdown and drop it, and Bill safety's gonna pick it up and run it back. Something weird's gonna happen, I think, in this game, like the ending.
Yeah, Jay's one of
I
the
agree.
script writers.
And I
Just
think
going
it's going to
with
be. I think it's going to be fourth quarter, 1 second left. Tyler Bass, that's his name, Tyler.
Yeah.
He's going to be on the 55-yard line. Banger field goal.
The fuck?
Everyone screaming.
Tyler's kicking a 65-yard field goal, bro.
Well, no, kicking it from the 55.
Yeah, he's kicking a 65-yard field goal because you have to count the 10 yards in the end zone.
Well, true. No, 45 then. It's gonna be a bomb
Jay, that might have gone 5 feet.
to win the game too, not to get him out of
real
overtime,
quick,
but to win the game.
Just had to do that for the brand, just for the brand. But so yeah, Josh thinks he's gonna hit a bomb to win the game.
Hey,
All right, wrapping up. Niners Cowboys game. I think we're all leaning to the fact that the Niners will probably win. I think it's gonna be a tough contest, but I think we're gonna see Dak Prescott on the alternate side of what we saw last week, where he doesn't throw 5 touchdowns, he throws 3 interceptions, he donates the ball to the other team, and CD's gonna be their only bright light in my eyes. I think Tony and Zeke aren't gonna be able to run too well, but that's my prediction. I think Niners are gonna cover whatever spread, which I think it's only 4 right now. I think they'll win by a touchdown and a field goal, so probably about 10 points, probably about 31. I think they'll score 34-24, maybe even 34-17.
I like that. Yep. I think Brock Sturdy's gonna really show up,
Brock Sturdy?
and yeah, Brock Sturdy, Brock Himothy,
Hey, could you show
Brock
us
Kimmy Neutron.
show us a little grid in the back then?
A little what?
A
Sorry,
little gritty in the back right there.
you want to see me gritty?
I
Hey,
would love to see you gritty.
Josh. Per the group chat in the gritty competition, I submitted my video. You have not submitted yours.
No one else has submitted a video except for you.
I know. I kind of got pulled into that. Everyone said they were going to, and no one else followed up. I think I set the bar too high, and everyone was like, "Nope."
No, you did not. You set the bar fairly average, if not below. I saw your gritty.
Okay, let's see.
I
you-
think I
Austin,
set
let's
the
see you
bar
do it.
pretty high.
You want to see me gritty?
Yeah, your background's blurred, so
I
you have
got
to
you.
unblur
I'll
it.
take away the blurred
Okay.
background.
Jason, how many attempts did that take?
Like 100. Okay,
All right,
let's
let's
see
see it,
Austin.
Austin.
He's in the snuggie. Oh my! Hold on.
Now that I think about it, how am I gonna actually be able to show? No, fuck it. We'll do it right over here. This is literally gonna be the shortest gritty we're ever seeing in life, but it's all good. It's literally
We're
just
not
a
gonna be
nice
able to see the footwork.
Dude, it's hard to actually do it with I have no run up space and there's a pillar right
Yeah.
here. So I couldn't even continue it off camera. I just had to stop for a second.
You need a whole end zone.
Why could he go crazy?
But no, I think Purdy throws 3 touchdowns, 1 rush, and 270 yards.
Brock
Oh,
Sturdy
you guys
going
ready for
crazy.
this?
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
I think Debo's going to put in a bunch of work. Christian McCaffrey's going to put in a bunch of work. Kittle's going to put in a bunch of work. And they're going to beat the Cowboys by 14. What are you doing, Jason? He's setting up his phone for a gritty.
All right, gotta show Austin how to gritty.
Bro, no way am I getting toasted about a gritty from you, bro.
Let's see.
My gritty definitely wasn't. Oh my god.
Jason Jefferson.
No way mine was worse than that. I refuse to
Jason
believe it was
Jefferson.
No,
worse than
I got nervous. I got nervous. When you saw my gritty. You saw my gritty. My gritty was top notch.
that. It was
Come on, you
not
saw it.
top-notch.
Okay,
Jason
but it was
Jefferson.
above average.
Jason Jettas.
Also, I'm not sure what this is, but this was the girl that moved out. What the fuck?
It looks like someone threw up their purse.
Mhm.
Yes.
No, that was like a corner
Yeah,
closet
so
throw
this
up
is-
right there.
This is like the pod room now.
Just need a
Elite.
mic.
All right, what's the last game that we were talking about?
We just talked
Niners,
about it,
Cowboys.
kind of.
Then we were showing off elite gritties.
I say Niners by 14.
All right, when mark this on your calendars. February 18th, when we film the pod, I'm gonna show Jason how to actually gritty in real life.
Okay. Post Super Bowl gritty.
Can you repeat that?
Huh?
Repeat.
I said February 18th. I'm gonna show Jason how to actually gritty in real life. He's gonna
Hey,
come
I
out
don't
of
know.
this
If
looking
you, I don't know.
saucier than
I
Jake.
just
Jay Jettas.
so on the YouTube chat right now. Dexter 2217 just said, "Can we see can we see Josh hit a gritty?"
I saw Joshy Washi +1 for Josh to gritty.
That's my that's my girlfriend, bro. She's on my YouTube account watching us, bro.
Hey, let's see the gritty, man.
Come
Let's
on,
see the
Josh. You gotta see it.
gritty.
Josh, I
Dude, we
think I
both
met
did.
your
Bro, I don't even
girlfriend.
know how to.
Josh, real
Josh.
quick. Side note. I think I met your girlfriend like freshman year of college in the middle of a mountain party because you and Armand, was it that? It was that girl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you and Armand, like I went to go say hi to you guys because you guys had just taken some vitamins and, you guys, I was like, Josh, I was like, what's up, Josh? And you're like, and I guess like I think Ryan saw your girlfriend and he was like, oh hey, and then I talked to her for, I don't remember her name. This was years ago, and talked to her for a second, and I was like, yeah, what's up with Josh? She's like, oh yeah, I don't know. And I was like, all right,
Vitamins.
yeah, the vitamins. And but Josh, we have 2 people in the chat now that want to see you gritty, so can't let the pod down.
Josh, here's what you're
Bruh.
gonna do. You're
Alright,
gonna
for
run
the
off the
JC
back and the
card.
front of your foot. You're gonna drop low, smooth, throw a little arm right here, point it down to the ground, and then throw that shit up to your face, trace on there, and you're chilling, bro.
Bruh. I'm about to look like the biggest clown ever, bro.
It's okay. We both did too. So like, understand.
And,
We're just a group of idiots. Once you realize.
all right. Give me the rundown one more time.
Okay, so here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna bounce off your back and then to the front of your foot smoothly. You're not trying to move fast.
Okay.
Just smooth, and then kind of position your body. You're gonna kind of get low, and then you're gonna point to your arm, and then you're gonna bring those hands up, the little 3 to the face, or you can put it up to 1.
All right. I'm gonna do my best.
That's all we can ask, bro. Don't feel pressured.
All right. How did that look, bro?
I think
I feel like I'm not getting low
I
enough.
feel like a little more rhythm in there wouldn't be too bad.
Oh my
I only was able to do like 2 steps before I hit my desk.
Hey, one more time.
Dude, nobody
I
wants
need to
see
pull
the
up a
crotch
clip of
either.
Justin Jefferson doing it, bro. Google's how to gritty.
Dude, I'm sending this 100% to Griff, and he's gonna have all of our gritties in there. It's gonna be so funny.
All right. Hold on. Quick little too.
Hey, you're not gonna put
Oh,
in
bro,
Ryan's,
Daniel Jones hit the
video I
gritty
sent, right?
on.
Huh? No, we're not putting in that. I'm putting in the one where you halfway baked it and you gave up midway through.
You want to see a real one? I didn't show you guys a real one.
Oh, we need to see the real one.
All right. Josh, you ready for this?
All right.
Jason's 100% gonna quit halfway through.
No, I'm gonna man up and do it this time.
He has to have the balls after watching you
Okay,
do your gritty, Josh.
Can
He's
can
got
somebody-
balls.
I need to
somebody
see the
put on
replay
this
online, bro.
replay?
Atrocious.
Are you guys ready? Can somebody put on
How
the
bad
music?
was it, there?
Austin,
somebody-
can you put on the music?
No.
I gotta get my. Okay, ready?
She
Here we
said
go.
my girlfriend says 10 out of 10. So,
Okay, ready?
oh, 10 out of 10 bad.
Nobody just watched that?
It wasn't as bad as mine. I don't guess.
Okay. Oh, your girlfriend's at your house?
Yeah. She's visiting.
Does she want to hit a gritty?
Naomi, you want to hit a gritty? You want to hit a gritty for the podcast? She says no.
As somebody else had the pod, I don't feel like we have the right to force her. So.
No.
All right. How about this? I'm gonna practice a little bit and I'll hit it next week.
Okay.
I've already given y'all
You
my
gave us the
my,
content we needed.
my rough draft.
I'm excited for the final next week.
Yeah, you better be. It's gonna be like Gesicki and Mac Jones. Yeah, be ready. I'm gonna be hitting that Yankee Doodle Dandy.
He's even hitting the Doodle Bob 11, right? All right. Well, this was an entertaining
What
pod,
else are you
nonetheless.
saying in the chat now?
This was an entertaining pod, nonetheless. It was a great time.
Yeah, fun.
I have the
times, fun
full
times.
body video, 100%. We're gonna need to see this.
Hey, what about Cade? We can't let him get off the hook.
Oh, we'll get him to gritty next week.
Yeah, Caden's not getting off the hook.
Yeah, next week we're gonna come back with a final draft of all.
What did
of
Hey,
you
them.
say?
Austin, real quick.
Hmm.
So
What did she say in the chat? I don't have it pulled up.
she said
She's a full body video of the
she said,
grid.
Josh, I want to see you do it again. Anyways, Austin,
I need to get her out of here.
so when you come here, we have a hallway, like right outside, the door, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's probably a good 100 feet. So a lot of room to gritty, a lot of room to make content for the pod. We can do some long snaps. We can do some punts. You just got to keep the punts under 10 feet. But we can
I'll
hit
try to
bombs
smile
in there.
onsides.
Squib kicks.
Piss missile
I
down the
would-
hallway.
Yeah, maybe some field goals.
Low
Bears
ones.
need that.
Ones under the wind.
Yeah, but yeah, it was good pod, boys. Maybe a little bit more serious next week, but maybe we'll start off with the gritty and then end on a more serious note. But rate the gritties in the chat. Tell us who did the best. I definitely think it's clear and obvious. It's probably Josh, but
Yeah, 100%. Josh beat us hands down.
yeah,
I gotta see this, bro. I know it's just gonna make me want to vomit.
I don't know if you. I don't know if I'd consider it the gritty. I don't know what it was, but I don't.
To be fair, it was literally probably not even 6 feet in length.
So next week we're gonna need a different angle so we can get a longer gritty next week, or maybe shorter steps.
I'm definitely not doing it right. I
Anyhow,
know that much.
it was a pleasure, boys.
Yep.
We will
Yeah,
see
y'all
you
have a
guys.
good night.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next Thursday. We look forward to
Alright.
you guys stopping in for the gritty and coming in for the actual football content. Yeah.